A knitting pattern comes in 4 sizes, 3 types of yarn, and 6 styles. How many hats can be made? So the short answer is you just use the fundamental counting rule and you can find this out. So you could say, okay, well there's 4 sizes and each one of those sizes has 3 types of yarn, and each one of those yarns and there's also 6 styles. So for each one of these there's also a style you could pick. So for example, we could pick size 1, type 1, style 1, or size 2, type 2, style 1. Yeah, I mean, you could pick a whole bunch of different ones, but essentially you just multiply by the fundamental counting rule, and you're going to get 4 times 3, which is 12, times 6, which I believe is 72, if memory serves. 12 times 6, we could always just check with a calculator too, is 72. Now, you might be wondering, why is this true though? Because this is a really easy problem to do, but why it's true kind of matters, or at least it helps understand why this works. So picture it like this. You start here at the beginning. So here you go, you're at the beginning, you've not yet started to knit. And then you could pick to knit, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could go any one of these 4 ways. This is your sizes. So you have like size 1, size 2, size 3, or size 4. Then you've got 3 types of yarn you could use. So on each one of these paths, you have to pick one of these 3 types of yarn. So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you pick size 2, you have 3 types. If you go down size 3, you've got 3 types of yarn you could use, and 1, 2, 3. So now you've gone down one of these paths. Maybe you go down this one. You pick size 1 and you pick yarn 1. Or maybe you pick size 1 and you pick yarn 2. So this would be all the different ways you can do this. Well, look at this, right? Here's the 4 paths. So here's 4 paths. And here's each one of these, right, is the 3 paths. And how many of these 3 paths do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these 3 paths because we had 4 initial paths. And so if we were to count all these up, we'd get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's kind of a long way of doing it. And that's only for the first. We haven't even included the additional 6 ways we can go with the styles, right? Because after you pick a size and a yarn, you can go down these style ways. And so, but you might look at this and say, well, look at this. This is just 4 groups of 3 because we had 4 initial paths, which is the same thing as just 4 times 3. And then for each one of these, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 styles of yarn. How many is that? 3, 6. So, or I think it had 6 already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these little things would be like all the different ways you could pick yarn. And there would be, for each one of these, there'd be 6 more of these, which was why we would put on a times 6. So that's where the fundamental counting rule kind of gets its name from, why you see it's just multiplication. Because you might say, wouldn't it be a bunch of adding? It would, and multiplication is just a way of doing repeated sets of adding. And so, right, this is the same way. Just 4 times 3 is the same thing as 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 4 times. Right, if we just look at the 4 times 3, or we could do 4 plus 4 plus 4. In this case, it makes more sense to look at this one since we went down a path of 4. There were 3 ways to go from each one of those paths. So this is like path 1, path 2, path 3, path 4. But that's why the fundamental counting rule kind of works the way that it does. And it's helpful to understand this because when you start using it, the multiplication, I think some people would just go, oh, I need to multiply, but they don't know exactly, they don't have an intuition on why. And it just helps with feeling comfortable with the math. If you have any questions about this, feel free to let me know. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and we'll catch you in the next problem.